Welcome to Area 3. Thanks for the work that you've been doing so far this semester. Thanks for your investment in the class and hopefully for the things that you've been learning. I hope it's been good for you. It's been good for me to think through some things again and to think how I can best relate some of this information to you in an online format. It's been good and I hope it's been a positive experience for you to date. As we begin Area 3 and try to provide an overview of sort of the historical period that we're examining here, it's quite different from Area 2. In Area 2, we covered a huge chunk of time, 1,000 years. In Area 3, the length of time is not as great, but the diversity of events is pretty significant. The 200 years from 1400 to 1600 was a time of dramatic change in the life of the church, and many of the changes were closely tied to social and political events that were occurring throughout Western Europe. Allow me to mention three factors that have a particular bearing on understanding some of the religious events of the time period, which of course is our focus. First, this was the age of great exploration. Even before Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, others had navigated down the coast of Africa and around the tip of Africa. Soon after Columbus's discovery, Da Gama had sailed from Europe around the tip of Africa to India. Such discoveries opened up the world. For those seeking power and money, the new lands afforded new opportunities to European nations. And for the Roman Catholic Church, the new discoveries provided new mission fields to expand their faith. A second, gradually occurring event that influenced the time period was the emergence of nation-states. Throughout much of the early Middle Ages, nations were not clearly defined. But in the 1400s, we can really begin talking about England and France and Spain and Portugal. And with national identity comes a desire for a distinct religious identity as well. A third important event was the invention of a movable type printing press in 1450. Particularly for the story of the spread of Christianity, the printing press will be a huge factor in the spread of the Protestant Reformation. The writings of Luther and others, and their translations of the Bible into vernacular languages, will be printed by the thousands. You will also note in Area 3 that we will begin to see the rise of the Protestant Reformation and its split from the Roman Catholic Church. While the Roman Catholic Church will continue to be a major global force, the Reformation brings about a new way of thinking about and being the Church. Please note, however, that the Protestant Reformation doesn't occur in a vacuum. In the late Middle Ages and into this time period, the Catholic Church had its struggles. The Pope was often more involved in politics than in the spiritual care of the Church. There was a period of years in which two men claimed to be the Pope at the same time. The Catholic Church struggled with church offices, bishops, for example, being sold to the highest bidder. Because of its acceptance of tradition, the Church emphasized teachings like purgatory and the saints that for later Protestant reformers clouded the true teachings of Scripture. These and other perceived corruptions within the Catholic Church helped spark the Reformation. And even though they may not be as famous, some of the pre-Reformation leaders like Wycliffe and Jan Hus as well. There was lots of change in the air in many capacities in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, and the Church was not any different. At one level, These monumental changes resulted in a great tearing of the unity of the church. No longer was the Catholic Church the only representation of Christianity in the West. Eventually, however, the division would result in multiplication, as both Catholics and Protestants grew as the larger world continued to become more known and available to mission-minded Christians.